Hey. This is Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. I'm here. Sorry I'm in a little late today, y'all. You know, it's a Monday. What can I say? Let me just start with my introduction. That's what I can say. Hello, I am Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic, and you have tuned into the Curvy Film Critic with Carla Renata. If this is your first time joining me, please give me a big old thumbs up to let me know you were here. Click that bell for notifications if you are on YouTube, and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I am trying something new tonight. That's why I'm a little behind the curve. I'm trying to go live on simultaneously on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So, hey, I'm here. That's all I have to say about that. I have a jam-packed show for you as always. I have interviews with the entire cast of MAID, including Andie MacDowell, her daughter Margaret Qualley, who is the lead in the film, Nick Robinson, who plays Margaret's love interest, and Miss Tony Award-winning Anika Noni Rose. I also have an interview with Danielle Mcdonald about her film Falling for Figaro, and I have the majority of the cast of the new film, which is a film version, well, not film version, but is a prequel to the Sopranos story. Y'all remember the Sopranos that was on HBO for years and years and years, that starred James Gandolfini and among others. Well, David Chase, the creator, has now taken that series and turned it into a feature film. I love anything mafioso, so I was all about it. I have seen that the reviews are mixed, but you know, your girl liked this. So we'll talk to some of them. Some of those cast members include Ray Liotta, my friend Leslie Odom Jr., Michael Gandolfini, Alessandro Nivola, and Michela. Love Michela. She's so beautiful, and she does such a great job in the show. Before I get into it, though, let me acknowledge my peeps in the chat room, which I always do. My boy Brandon, he's always got things for me to say. So he says that he's seeing Illuminations Mario and his voice cast Chris Pratt, Charlie Day are voicing. Okay, cool. That's something good to know. And then he's also telling me that, where is it? Here we go. He's also telling me that Tudum Stream had great trailers to Gravity Falls, Inside Job to Super Crooks, Anime to League of Legends. Okay, you know, my boy Brandon always keeps it real for me. He always gives me a little news here and there to keep me in the know in case I miss something. So I appreciate you, Brandon. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody that's taking the time to stream it. So, and I also say what happened during my week and in my world. So this past week, I think I told you guys that I am doing the stage version of Designing Women, which was a TV series created in, I think, the 80s by Linda Bloodsworth Thompson, and her husband, Harry Thompson, directed most of those episodes. But it was on the CBS network. It starred Dixie Carter, Annie Potts, Delta Burke, and Jean Smart, who just won an Emmy for her role in Hacks. So congratulations, Miss Jean Smart. And Leslie Odom Jr., I forgot to say, just hosted the Tony Awards last night. So congratulations, Leslie Odom Jr. Him and his wife, Nicolette Robinson, give me hope that I'm going to find my forever love someday. I'm going to, I'm going to hold out hope that I'm going to find my forever love. They are so cute. They're like my little black Cinderella and Prince. I love them so much. Okay, anyway, I digressed. But I usually talk about what I did. So what I did this past week is I opened Designing Women in Fayetteville, Arkansas at the Theater Square Theater. We have a couple of cast changes coming up. I believe as of October 14th or October 15th, they're going to stream the show from Fayetteville. So you can go to the Theater Square website and find out more about those streaming options. And I can also tell you about them here. But I wanted to let you know that. So yeah, that's that. And I'll be reviewing the Many Saints of Newark. I'll be reviewing Addams Family 2, and Falling for Figaro. That's what I'll be reviewing on this show. So that was pretty much my week last week. I've been inundated with all things Designing Women. That has been it. So let's just get into these interviews, shall we? Now, let me talk a little bit about the Many Saints of Newark. So the Many Saints of Newark, like I said before, is a it is a film that picks up into the prequel life of Tony Soprano. So we get to find out how Tony Soprano got involved in this life of crime that he's involved in. They look at all the characters, Uncle Junior, all of the characters, his mom, his dad. We look at everybody that's involved, Janice, his sister. We find out why everybody ends up turning out the way that they do. But I really like the way that the film started. It started in the graveyard with Michael Moltisanti talking about how he died and who everybody was. So the whole story is kind of told from Michael's point of view from the grave, so to speak. And we get to find out who all these characters are, their relationships with each other. They have a whole storyline happening with, it's dealing with the 60s. So there's a whole storyline going on that deals with the racial divide that was happening in America at the time, especially in Newark, New Jersey, which is where The Sopranos takes place. I kind of love that they infiltrated that storyline. And I really like that they had Leslie Odom Jr. Play that role. And he wasn't a subservient Black man. He was a strong Black man with a home life, with a wife that was played beautifully by Patina Miller, another Tony Award-winning actress. I liked it. You know, it wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but it was my cup of tea. So that's all I got to say about that. But before I do this introduction, let me just say, I've been a fan of Ray Liotta for as long as I can remember. I've seen him in Goodfellas. I've seen him in just about everything he's ever done. And this role in The Many Saints of Newark is really an interesting role for him. I can't say much about it because if I do, it'll be a spoiler. I actually ran into that little situation as I was interviewing Mr. Liotta, so I had to edit that part out. Wink, wink. But anyway, I'll tell you more about the film when I flip to the interview with Michael, Alessandro, and Leslie Odom Jr. But for right now, take a look and a listen to this interview with Ray and Michaela from The Many Saints of Newark. I kind of loved y'all in this movie. I'm so excited right now. Hey! Okay, so I really am. You have no idea. So I'm a huge fan of the franchise, and I just want to know, what did David Chase have to say to make y'all go, yep, I'm in? I'll start with Michaela first.
I wasn't on their radar for this, but I had heard about the movie and that they were going to do it, and I had met David Chase once before, and to know that he was going to create the movie as well as like what he did with the series. That was it for me. I just really liked him and who he is and what he's about. He's just a fun person. I liked him a lot.
You guys kind of specialize in this particular movie in playing characters that are a little Okay, I don't know what happened with that interview, but we're going to come back to that. So let's play this one with Leslie and Michael and Alessandro. Let's hope that this one plays. I'm having technical gremlins. Must be a full moon. Okay, here we go. Hey, everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey. Hey, Les. So
hey, nice to meet you, Carla.
You know what, brother Les? Cut it out.
I'm going to start calling you Les.
Yeah, I like it.
Cut it out. We're friends. I'm sorry. Let me be professional. So anyway, what I want to find out from you guys is, I love The Sopranos. Like, that is my jam. Anything dealing with mobs and mafiosa, I am that girl. But I want to know, what did David Chase say to each and every one of you to make you say yes to this job? And I'll start with Brother Les first.
He said, we'd like to hire you. And I said, I'll be there. I'll be there. No, Carla, you don't get writing like this, and writing is king. The writing is king. Nobody writes like David. So no, there's nowhere I'd rather be than a room where we're going to say these words for the first time to one another. And part of the legacy of that original, of the series of the show, is also the fact that it was such a killer ensemble, pardon the pun. And so
I kind of loved y'all in the Hey, everybody.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey. Hey, Les. So
hey, nice to meet you, Carla.
You know what, brother Les? Cut it out.
I'm going to start calling you Les.
Yeah, I like
Cut it out. We're friends. I'm sorry. Let me be professional. So anyway, what I want to find out from you guys is I love The Sopranos. Like that is my jam. Anything dealing with mobs and mafiosa, I am that girl. But I want to know what did David Chase say to each and every one of you to make you say yes to this job? And I'll start with Brother Les first.
He said, we'd like to hire you. And I said, I'll be there. I said, I'll be there. No, Carla, you don't get writing like this, and writing is king. The writing is king. Nobody writes like David. So no, there's nowhere I'd rather be than a room where we're going to say these words for the first time to one another. And part of the legacy of that original, of the series of the show, is also the fact that it was such a killer ensemble, pardon the pun. And so the chance to be a part of another group of actors in collaboration was too good to pass up.
Well, I mean, obviously the provenance of the show, of the series, and the brilliance of it, and the huge fan base that it had and everything was, going to be a big inspiration for the film, and was a clear reason to want to be involved. But in fact, he said to me, don't pay any attention to anything that anybody in the series ever said about your character, because they're all liars. So I felt like, the fact that he was giving me this kind of total freedom to invent this character anew, and that this was going to be an autonomous story that was self-contained and something all its own, was equally enticing for me. And then it was just like, it was a role of a lifetime that I'd waited 25 years of making movies to be offered. So it certainly wasn't something I was equivocating about.
And dude, you did that. Let me just say that. Okay. You did your thing. Michael, this is like a lineage project for you, a lineage legacy project for you in some respects. So what did David say to you? Because,
I mean, at first I was hesitant to audition. It was just through my reps, and, I hadn't talked to David at all, and I wasn't in a place to turn down a good audition. And I went in and auditioned, and then after about, it was like a 2-month process. It went from being hesitant to being terrified that I wasn't going to get it. And I was more scared that I wasn't going to get it than getting it. And then nightmares of standing in front of David in auditioning rooms, and like 3 months of all this stuff, and final audition comes and I do it, and I get a call an hour later, and David says, hey. It's like, hey. He's like, he goes, you did a good job, but it's going to be a while. Oof. And that was about it. And I was like, oh my God, what does that mean? So it's like, okay. And then after about another month of waiting, we got the call, and I was just honored that he trusted me, and stoked that I was going to get to work with Leslie and Alessandro and everyone. So it was a intense process, but ultimately I think the slow burn was really helpful for me.
Dude, talking about making you sweat, that is crazy. Well, that is my time, y'all. I wish I had more time. I have so many more questions, but thank you so very much for making time for me. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Bye.
Bye.
All right. The tech gremlins are messing with me tonight, y'all. I don't know why they messing with me, but they are. Thank you, Kenneth Williams, for popping in. Appreciate you. So I will try to have that Ray Liotta interview at the tail end of this. And if not, I'm going to re-edit this broadcast and have it so that the tech gremlins aren't looking crazy and all of that. So there you have it. So yeah, the next film I want to, well, not a film, but it's a TV series. It's on Netflix. It's called MAID. Oh, and before I say that, the Many Saints of Newark is going to drop on October 1st. So you'll get to see it on October 1st. All right. And it is directed and created by David Chase. All right. So Netflix on MAID on Netflix. It stars Margaret Qualley. She plays this single mom who's in an abusive relationship, and she's just trying to make a way for herself. Her real life, Alex is the character's name, and Alex is played by Margaret Qualley, and Margaret Qualley's real life mother, Andie MacDowell, plays her mother in the film, and Nick Robinson plays her significant other. It is crazy. It's a really deep series. Anika Noni Rose plays a role in there. We talk about that. I don't want to give too much of the interview situation away in talking about the series, but let's start, and hopefully I won't have any gremlins during this interview. Let's start with the interview with Margaret Qualley, where she tells me something hilarious about Shoop, and whoop, there it is. I love how they selected Shoop as the go-to mechanism song for
it's
you
such
and your
a good song.
Yes.
What you don't know is that they didn't choose Shoop until like 2 days before we were shooting, which meant that I also learned Whoop, there it is. So I know both front to back, and everyone who is quarantining in my hotel probably knows it too.
That is hilarious. I thank you for sharing that little tidbit of info, because that is pure comedy. But what I was going
like, I can break out all those songs. Yeah.
Well, what is your go-to mechanism song?
Good question. I mean, I'm all over the place. My sister's a musician, so it's hard for me not to just like insert a plug there, which is certainly what I'm about to do. Her name's Ransford, and she's the best. And I highly recommend you go listen to her songs right after you hear this.
Cool. What's her site? Give me the plug.
On Spotify, she's the best. And one of my favorite of her songs is Love Me Like You Hate Me.
All right. I will do that. And I will let you know how I feel about it too.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much. So girl, I got to ask you, what's it like working with your mom? Because I live with my mom.
You do?
My mom lives with me. Yes, I take care of my mom. So I know on any given day you love them, but it can be challenging sometimes. But the scenes that you guys had were really lovely and warm and touching. But what did that feel like to act with your mom?
It was so cool. I mean, it was actually my idea. I was in Canada and I was quarantining, and the spot of my mom was still open, and it dawned on me that my mom should do it. I've always wanted to work with her. And then I was, reading, Molly was in the middle of writing the script, and I was reading 3 and 4, and just like the way that this mother-daughter relationship was progressing, I was like, oh, wow, we'd have such an opportunity to really dig into a complicated, interesting relationship here. And so I called Margot and I pitched the idea, and she was so into it. And then it happened really quickly. And then I just had to cross my fingers and hope that my mom wanted to do it. Cause I'd been like, yeah, she'll do it. She'll be here. And then I was like, I hope she wants to do this. And then she did. So that was really exciting for me. And then, it was exciting in so many different ways, because on the one hand, I'm just such a massive fan of her work. And then I'm also her daughter, and we're in the middle of a pandemic. So it was really exciting to have her, up in Canada with me and making baked goods and bringing them over on the weekends. So yeah, it was great.
That is so cool. Well, that's my time, Margaret. I enjoyed this. I wish I could have talked to you a little bit longer, but we'll do it the next time. All right.
I hope so. Okay. Yeah. It was nice talking to you, Carla.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, that was a lovely interview with Miss Margaret Qualley. She plays a really wonderful character. And if that name or that face looks familiar, she was in that big hit from last season, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And she's making a real splash for herself. Her mom should be really proud of her. Speaking of her mom, here's my interview with her mom, Miss Andie MacDowell. Hi, Andie.
Hey.
I've been a fan of yours for so long. I am so excited to talk to you today.
Sweet.
I am just thrilled. I've been watching you for decades, Mama.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, huge fan. But what I want to know right off the bat, Alex's go-to mechanism song is Shoot in the series. What is your go-to song when you just want to lift your spirits?
Well, like anything by Sly and the Family Stone, I'd say anything but, because my sister listened to them when I was in the 8th grade, and she had an 8-track tape cassette of them, and driving around in her car with her listening to that always was like, I thought it was super cool.
I love that. I think it's super cool that you like Sliding the Family Stone. I did not expect you to say that. I thought you were going to say Alanis Morissette or something. I didn't know what I thought you was going to say, but it wasn't Sliding the Family Stone. I love that. And how did it be? I know I just talked to Margaret, and she talked about how she pitched you for the gig and she wasn't sure you were going to take it. But then once you took it, how did you feel working with your daughter? Because that's your baby.
No, it was a privilege. And I would say to her quite often, I'm so afraid this will never happen again. And every moment, I just wanted to make sure that I got everything just right. And I really wanted to do a good job for her. I think I was more profoundly touched by watching the end product when I actually saw MAID and I saw her performance, because, I was only there for my performances. I didn't get to see everything else that she shot. And I just feel like the whole show just turned out so fabulous. And so much of it, I think, was due to Margaret, because she's in every scene, and her performance is so interior and so nuanced and pure and honest. And her relationship with the child, she made that happen. She really worked hard with Riley. Riley was real super quiet, not always easy to get her to say her stuff, but because Margaret spent so much time with her, it made her character a real character. And so I think that was, for me, was when I actually watched the final product, just appreciative of my daughter.
Oh, and I'm appreciative of both of y'all, because it was beautiful to watch y'all on screen. It really, really was. And side note, and this has nothing to do with MAID or Netflix or your kid, but girl, that movie you did a while ago where you were on those horses playing a cowgirl, I was there for all of that.
That's so funny. Bad Girls.
Yes, I was there for all of that.
Yes, sweet. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Miss Andy McDowell and Miss Margaret Qualley. So now we're going to move on over to some other folks in MAID that is currently streaming on Netflix. The next person we're going to talk to is Nick Robinson. He plays Margaret's significant other, and he's a really dark dude. So he and I have a little chat about that. So take a look and listen to this interview with Nick Robinson from MAID. So, dude, this character, Sean, he's a lot. He's a lot. He's a lot. Have you ever known a Sean?
I kind of, yeah. I think everybody's maybe known a Sean, someone who, is maybe well-intentioned, but just has a lot of trauma in his life and just can't really get out from underneath it. And yeah, there were people that I have met along the way that I thought of when I first read this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where did you have to go? Because dude is dark. So how far did you have to dig into your psyche to pull Sean out of you for a performance? Because there's a lot going on there.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I think for Sean, to be honest with you, a lot of the work had already been done, in the sense that Molly wrote such a well-crafted character that on the page just like made sense, and you just kind of got who this guy was just from her writing alone, which made my job 10 times easier, because I could it made sense. I didn't have to make anything up. It was kind of all on the page. And when you're acting opposite somebody like Margaret Qualley, it's like that's a great scene partner to be in, and somebody who can like take you into some deeper places. So between those two things, and our incredible crew and our directors and everything, it felt very, I don't know, maybe not natural is not the right word, but it didn't feel hard to get to those places, just because you had this wide network of support and work that had gone into it already. And even though it is heavy, it was sometimes fun to kind of be playing the bad guy, and the villain. So I think just given the incredible like group of people involved with this, it made my job a lot easier to get to these darker places.
Well, it was wonderful watching you. You did a fantastic job. Because I'm looking at you on screen, you look like such a little nugget, and then you're playing like this really like deep, dark, gruffy dude on camera. So you definitely did your job and fooled me, because I was like, oh, is he gonna be like this on camera? I am scared.
No, thank you, Carla. I appreciate that. I honestly, some of the highest compliments I got was my girlfriend and I watched the show. And after we finished, we were like halfway through the season. I left the room and came back, and she was like, I don't know if I really want to be hanging out with you right now. And that was actually I felt good about that one.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time, Nick. That's my time. But I appreciate you. It was a wonderful project. Congratulations. And hopefully I'll see you again soon.
I hope so. Thank you, Carla.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
I really enjoyed talking to Nick, and he's really good. The performances in MAID are really kind of spectacular. And then we're going to talk about another one from Anika Noni Rose, the Tony Award-winning Anika Noni Rose. Anika and I talk about how her character could have easily been one note, but she didn't make her one note. And we have a little chat about that. So take a look and a listen to this interview with Anika Noni Rose from MAID on Netflix. Hi, Anika.
Hi, Carla. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, sis?
I'm really well.
Good. You look pretty.
Thank you.
So this series it's a deep little show, and Regina's a deep little doll. What made you want? She is. What made you want to dig into her? Because I don't think I've quite seen you do somebody like her.
Yeah, she was different for me. And what I appreciate is the depth of who she is, that is shown, that is sort of peeled back as you go along. You assume that this woman is a certain way. And then you learn more about her, and you learn that A, she has a reason for being the way that she is, and B, what you think she is not what you think she is. And I like that, because I feel that so often Black women are stuck in a space in film or television where they are one thing or the other. She's a hard ass, and she's going to be a hard ass through the whole thing. She's a badass. She's going to be a badass through the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we're expected to fill that space and stay in that space. And so I appreciated that she was allowed to be multi-layered and very human. And that because she was rich, she wasn't also, sometimes we'll get a role and it's somebody who's rich and she's so disconnected from everything else in the land that you've never even met anybody like that. You're like, did money make you an alien?
Not an alien.
But I feel like this is a woman who you learn who she is, you learn her journey, you understand why she became the person that she became. And and she's real. She's a real person in spite of seeming very much not so.
Because you made her real, because that's how you roll. Real quick, before we roll out, Alex's favorite song to play for Mandy is Shoot. Like, that's her go-to coping mechanism song. What is your go-to coping mechanism song?
Oh, I don't even know. I'm terrible with those questions. The moment you ask me, I'm like, boo.
Is it Shoop?
It is not amazingly Shoop, though I love Shoop and I think it's a lot of fun. I don't know. I can just tell you a song that makes me really, really happy right now whenever I hear it, even though it's been out for a whole summer, is that Silk Sonic, Leave the Door Open.
Yes,
I just love it. It just makes me happy. It's R&B.
Open.
Yes.
Yes, girl. I'm right there with you.
Oh, and what I've been listening to lately is Lettucey sings Nina.
Yes.
She sings Nina Simone,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll blow your hair back. It's fantastic.
It
So
will take
that's
your
where
wig.
I am.
It will
That's
take your
where I
wig
am.
glue off. But girl, I gotta wrap this up. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to me, Anika. I always
Thank
appreciate
you.
talking to you.
Thank you, Carla.
Bye. I love Anika because Anika just keeps it real. You know what I'm saying? She keeps it real. And I love watching her act. I remember the first time I ever saw her was in a show called Carolina Change, the show that she won the Tony Award for. And I could not believe the depth and the breadth of the way she brought this character to life on the stage. So it's been a real joy and a treat for me to see her translate her talent from the stage to the screen. So that is it for the interviews for MAID. It is on Netflix. It is streaming right now. It is starring Anika Noni Rose, Margaret Qualley, Andy McDowell, and Nick Robinson. All right, so now there is a film that's coming out on all of these films are dropping, with the exception of MAID on Netflix, which is a series, and I don't review series, but all of these films that I'm speaking about are dropping on October 1st, which is this Friday. So, side note to that, Danielle Mcdonald, I've spoken to before. The last time I spoke to her, she was she was playing a fortune teller in a film with Michelle Pfeiffer. I think it was called French Exit. And now she is playing an opera singer in a film called Falling for Figaro. She plays Millie, and she plays this young woman who's working, I think she's working at like a marketing firm, and decides that she wants to fulfill this dream of hers of singing. She decided she didn't want to be in corporate life anymore, and she's going to go for this second chapter in her life of being an opera singer. And she goes like to some remote area in another country and ends up falling in love with this guy who has been going to this competition, this singing competition for years. And now she's giving him a little competition, but they fall in love. And it's a really cute story. But I was like, uh-oh, my girl Danielle Mcdonald is holding out on me. She is singing opera, but we talk about that. So we talk about all of that. So take a look and a listen to this interview with Danielle Mcdonald from Falling for Figaro. Miss Danielle. Girl, you know I gotta ask, is that you singing?
Not me singing. I'm so sorry to disappoint. It is not me singing. It's I did have to sing on set. I had to get in the character and breathe and do all of that. But ultimately my voice was replaced with a professional opera singer because I could never be that good ever. No.
You did. I was convinced it was you. I truly thought it was you. And I was like, why is my girl holding out on me? Why is she not telling me she got some other skills happening? I was so upset. I was
I wish I had those skills. I truly do. Because I actually had to sing the opera on set. And when I was doing it, it did not sound like that. I promise you, it did not sound like that.
You are hilarious. And this movie kind of reminds me of this quote from A Raisin in the Sun. A dream deferred is like a raisin in the sun. And I remember I used to be a publicist. And I remember the whole time I was working as a publicist, I really wanted to do theater. I wanted to be on Broadway. And so I quit doing publicity to follow my dream. Did you ever find yourself in a situation like that where you had a different kind of job and you were like, you know what, I'm done. I'm gonna go do this and follow my dream?
I knew pretty young what I wanted to do. I think when I was in high school, I was like, I really, really want to do this. And I went to university for a year, but knowing I wanted to act. And the moment I got an opportunity to come act, I dropped out of university to be able to come and do that, because I knew it was what I wanted to do. So I guess that's the closest thing, not finishing college so I could do it. But at the same time, I love that message in this. I don't think it's ever too late to follow your dreams. I think they're always there, and it's what's going to make you happy. You have to go for it.
Absolutely. And I'm a huge fan of opera. So I was living my entire life hearing all these different really famous opera songs being infiltrated into the score and within the confines of the storyline of the film. Did you find yourself gravitating toward a favorite operatic song? Because mine is Nessa Dorma.
I think so. Hugh was just so good at doing Figaro at the end. Like he was I was like, you guys don't need to replace his voice. He's perfect. He's brilliant. He's so good at it. And like watching him up close when he was just like bouncing around, I think it's one of the hardest ones to do. That's going to be my favorite simply because of his performance. But I also loved our duet. I mean, I watched a lot of opera and I found a lot of love for it, honestly. It's really, really beautiful.
It is a gorgeous art form. It really, really is. And now I got to ask you about them scenes with Miss Joanne, honey, where she's pulling your tongue, she's choking you. First of all, how long did y'all have to shoot that scene and how many takes did it take?
I think it only took us a few goes. It was really funny right before. She's like, okay, so this is exactly how I grab it. It was very technical. It was really funny. And she's so kind that it's really like when you get into it, she's like, okay. And I basically just had to not laugh while I was doing it, to be completely honest.
Because I was like, oh, my girl, her throat. I'm like, we're not trying to jack her up for eternity, are we? My goodness.
It was
I was like, no, stop that. That's my girl. Don't hurt her.
Appreciate it.
So now you have done a film where you are singing opera. You've been a fortune teller. You've been a lover of Dolly music. What else is there for Miss Danielle Mcdonald to do?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. There is stuff. I mean, I honestly would love to be able to do every single genre of film. I would love to be able to play every different kind of character you can think of. So I'm open to anything and everything. It's just always really fun to get to play and learn new skills and learn, new passions. It's great. And like I said, I really found out that I loved opera and like gained a whole new understanding and respect for it, which is amazing.
Well, my favorite Aussie, that is my time. I love and adore you so much. And I really enjoy talking to you. Thank you so much for giving me your time.
Thank you. It's always great to talk to you. I'm glad we got to.
Me too. Danielle. Okay, I'm kind of salty that you're not singing in the movie, but I love you anyway. So this film is directed and written by Ben Lewin. It is called Falling for Figaro, and it hits theaters on October 1st, y'all. It is so much fun. It kind of gives you hope eternal for love. It really, really does. All right, so I was able to revive that Ray Liotta interview for the Many Saints of Newark. I'm gonna try to play it. Hopefully we won't have any glitches this time. So take a look and a listen to this interview with Ray Liotta and Miss Michela from the Many Saints of Newark. This movie, I'm so excited right now. Hey! Okay, so I really am. You have no idea. So I'm a huge fan of the franchise, and I just want to know, what did David Chase have to say to make y'all go, yep, I'm in? I'll start with Michela first.
Oh, it's been my first American movie. I should have said yes, for sure. Yeah.
I wasn't on their radar for this, but I had heard about the movie that they were going to do it, and I had met David Chase once before. And to know that he was going to create the movie as well as like what he did with the series, that was it for me. I just really liked him and who he is and what he's about. He's just a fun person. I liked him a lot.
You guys kind of specialize in this particular movie in playing characters that are a little psychopathic, but with a little charm behind it, especially with Hollywood Dick. What is it that draws you to those types of characters? Because they're a little dark, but they're also a little fun and fluffy all at the same time. You can take that one, Ray.
Yeah. It's just fun to play different types of characters in any movie. I just really enjoy what this story was about.
Michela, your character is so strong. She's a strong woman with a business sense, an Italian strong woman with a business sense. But yeah, she got a little edge to her too. How do you feel about Giuseppa and her trajectory in this story?
Yes, she's so ambitious. I think the word could be brave. She's just brave, and she has a big heart, and she loves. And sometimes there's no space for that.
What would that word be to describe that experience to coming into the world of The Sopranos?
A privilege.
That's a wonderful word, Ray.
The whole thing was exhilarating to me.
Ooh, I love that. That is a fierce adjective. I love that. Well, that is my time, you guys. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to me today. I really appreciate it. And good luck with the film. It was fabulous.
Same here. Thank you.
All right. Bye. Okay, so I was able to get that interview up for you guys. So again, The Many Saints of Newark is directed and created and written by David Chase, the same person who brought you The Sopranos on HBO. It drops on October 1st. October 1st. It is a Warner Brothers joint. It stars Ray Liotta, Alessandro Nivola, Leslie Odom Jr., Vera Farmiga, and the list goes on. I don't know all of the actors off the top of my head, but I liked it. I love The Sopranos. Like, they would have had to mess it up from, 10 years to Sunday for me to hate it. So I really liked it. But that drops on October 1st. And I want to talk real briefly about the Addams Family. The Addams Family 2 is coming up, and it's going to drop on October 1st as well. And what I love about the Addams Family, I just love the Addams Family because they are just unapologetically just strange and weird. And it's just cute and fun and fluffy. It really is. I enjoyed the film. I loved watching them come back to life again. And this time we have shenanigans. I don't want to ruin it for y'all, but I don't want to ruin it by telling you what the plot is. I really kind of don't. But I will tell you this. I can tell you a little bit. I can tell you this much. I can tell you that it is, what can I tell you about it? I can tell you that it's produced by Sony Pictures. I can tell you that. And I can tell you that I'm trying to pull it up so I can tell you more about it. Okay. So I can tell you that it's directed by Greg Tiernan. It is written by Dan Hernandez. I can tell you that it is starring Oscar Isaac. Oh, my love. Oscar Isaac is doing the voice of Gomez Addams. Charlize Theron is doing Morticia Addams. Chloe Grace Moretz is doing Wednesday Addams. Nick Kroll is Uncle Fester. Snoop Dogg is Cousin It. I love the fact that Snoop Dogg is Cousin It. That kind of just gives me joy. And I love that Bette Midler is the voice of Grandma. It is just pure comedy. But this time when we see the Addams Family, they are getting tangled up in some adventures that involve some hit and runs with all sorts of unsuspecting characters. And it's a sequel to the 2019 animated film. It's fun, y'all. I don't want to say too much about it. I'll probably say more about it next week. But yeah, I'll say more about it next week because it hasn't dropped yet. They haven't done the junket for it yet. And so I don't want to say too much because I don't want to get in trouble from Sony. But I do want to put it on your radar that it is dropping on October 1st. And I'll just say more about it on next Monday. So just as a reminder, the films that are dropping on October 1st are Addams Family 2, The Many Saints of Newark. MAID is currently streaming on Netflix right now, and Falling for Figaro is going to drop on October 1st. I was trying to get my interview for Dan Stevens from I'm Your Man ready for you. And I love me some Dan Stevens because I remember him from the Downton Abbey franchise. But for some reason, the sound was out of sync. So it's going to take me a minute to fix that. So I'll have that one for you guys next Monday. And then I'll talk more about the Addams Family 2 next Monday as well. But hold up, wait a minute. I got some more stuff for you. I'm also going to review Mass, the movie Mass, starring Ann Dowd. You know who Ann Dowd is. She's that chick from The Handmaid's Tale that we love to hate. And then Welcome to the Blumhouse is back. Welcome to the Blumhouse is back with a whole new quartet of films. And I'm going to be talking to Asia Cooper and the director of Black is Night. And then I'm speaking to some people from the film The Manor, which are part of the Welcome to the Blumhouse series. And they're going to have a virtual premiere this week. So, and I might have, and I'll do I'm Your Man with Dan Stevens, and I'll also have some stuff about Addams Family too. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little more depth and detail. But that is it for this edition an episode of The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. Again, if this is your first time joining me, give me a thumbs up if you are on YouTube. Click the bell for notifications if you are on YouTube. If you are on any of the other platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, please pop over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. I love bringing y'all content. I love talking about movies, and I love bringing you some interviews that are kind of fluffy and fun, and some of them are a little serious. It just kind of depends on the subject and who I'm talking to. But what I do here is I talk to people above and below the line in the film industry and do a little review action along the way. So that is it. This is episode 182 of The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. We are approaching that number 200 quicker than I think we are. And when that happens, there will be a whole new, I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and we're going to do a whole new branding and come back with episode 200. But we're not doing that just yet. There's still some more movies to talk about before we do that. But I will take a break before we come back with that 200 show. I'm also going to do some shows where I'm going to have my Designing Women cast come on and talk to me about what their favorite movies are. And we'll just have a whole discussion about that. The cast here is Ward, Elaine, Amy Peets, who else is here? Sarah Colonna from Chelsea Handler's show, Chelsea Lately. We have Kim Matula. We have Matthew Miller. And I know I'm forgetting some other people. Tanya Walker is taking over for Elaine. But I'm just going to have us all on a Zoom call, and we're going to talk about movies, and it's going to be fun. And we may even talk a little Designing Women in the process. So let me go in the chat real quick before I say goodbye and see what's happening over there. Yes, Brandon, I will definitely see you next week. Thank you for coming in and hanging with me and supporting me. I really, really do wholeheartedly appreciate you. Okay, so until next time, love, peace, and hair grease, and I'll see you on the flip side. Bye.